Okay, so you're getting ready to buy your first cigar, and you don't want to walk in the cigar store and look foolish. So, what do you look for? What should you buy? I've heard people tell new smokers to look at the cigars and pick out something that looks nice to them. I simply don't agree with that. Trying to pick a cigar out in a cigar shop by what it looks like is like picking out a book in a bookstore. You cannot tell a book by its cover, nor can you tell a cigar by its cover, unless you know a little bit about the cigar wrappers. The wrappers are a good indication of what's inside. A Connecticut wrapper is almost always going to be a mild smoke. The more complex smokes are much more difficult to discern. A highly rated cigar is most likely not going to be a Connecticut wrapper. Typically, Connecticut wrappers are not rated highly in cigar magazines. So if you're looking for a good cigar, don't bother with the cigar ratings. You're going to get a much more complex smoke. You're looking for a mild cigar as a new smoker, and it's not that difficult to pick out a mild cigar. If you have a very helpful salesperson that you trust, they can guide you to a mild cigar. However, sometimes you don't trust them, sometimes their knowledge may not be as good as it should be, and sometimes you just want to pick out what you feel is best. So let me kind of guide you through some of the basics about how to pick up your first cigar. And if you're with your buddies and you're picking out your first cigar so you won't look foolish, or if you just don't really trust the salesperson or don't want to have to trust the salesperson, they may be giving you good info. This will give you enough info so that you'll know that they're guiding you in the right direction. You can see here by the different cigars that I have laid out, these are all mildish cigars that I like, and they're all very different. If you look closely, though, you'll notice a consistent thread. For example, this is a Gurkha, but it's a very light wrapper. The wrapper is very important on a cigar. It lends the largest portion of the flavor. Here again, same thing, a very light wrapper, as you can see. This is what's known as a Connecticut shade wrapper. They're grown in Connecticut, not surprisingly. They're also grown, Connecticut seed wrappers are grown in Ecuador. That's not the same, but they are mild also. An Ecuadorian grown wrapper would be just like a Cuban seed cigar grown in another country. Now, there's a selection of sizes, and I'm not going to get into box pressed and torpedoes and different shapes, figurados. There are 3 different flavors: mild, medium, and full. There are also strengths: mild and strong. A mild cigar should not make you nauseous. Even if you're a new smoker, they should not bother you much, or at all. A strong cigar may make you dizzy, and it's a kind of an uncomfortable feeling if you've ever felt it before. So what you want to do is you want to get a mild cigar, and generally mild cigars are also mild in taste and in strength. The mildest cigars are the Connecticut wrappers, so pick out a Connecticut wrapper. The shape, the size, is only important in so much as the larger the cigar, that means the larger in length and the larger in girth, the ring size, the longer it's going to last. This little cigar is a little Arturo Fuente Hemingway short story. This will probably last 30 minutes. A cigar this size normally lasts close to an hour. So pick your cigar size based upon how long you want it to last. Now, one last thing about cigar size before I move on is the larger ring sizes will provide you with a cooler smoke. So they are advantageous to have a larger ring size. They're very popular these days. A 50 size is pretty good. I don't see much need to go up to some of the huge sizes like 60 ring size these days. A 50 will get you cool. I don't recommend the smaller ones like a 38. 42 I think is the smallest one I normally keep. 44, 48, 50, 52, those are all good ones. You can see I have some dark shaded wrappers. This is a Maduro wrapper. This one happens to be mild, but you can't count on a Maduro being mild. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes the dark ones are stronger. If you are smoking a cigar, you should also have something to drink with you. About halfway to 3/4 of the way through a cigar, normally your mouth is going to get a little bit desensitized. And if you'll drink some cognac, brandy, heck, even a Coke, will cleanse your palate a little bit, and it'll kind of freshen that cigar smoke up to you. So have something to drink with your cigar. If you haven't eaten for 3 or 4 hours and you smoke a cigar, remember that sick feeling I told you from a strong cigar? That's much more likely to occur. Even with a mildish cigar, sometimes they can make you a little bit nauseous. So sugar's great for killing that feeling or for stalling it. Lighting your cigar is a little bit of an art. What you want to do when you light a cigar, and I'm going to go through this really quickly because this is a subject all of its own. You need a good lighter. I recommend one with a butane with multiple light sources, and I don't think you can see that in the, but it's got 3 coming out. And you can do it with one, and there's various different ones, but I like the 3 better. They're a little bit quicker to get the job done. Another cute feature on some of these lighters is they'll have a punch on the back so that you can cut your cigar. You can cut your cigar several ways. You can use a punch like the one on the bottom of the cigar. You can use a punch like this. This is, cleans itself out. You can use a guillotine cutter, which is like this one right here, or you can use a V cutter, and this one cuts a nice little V. Now, the caution with a cutter is that cigars are rolled with, let's see a good one to show you this on. Cigars are rolled and the body is rolled. They put a cap on the cigar. After the cigar is completed, they put this cap on. You need to be careful when you cut it not to ruin the cap, because the cap keeps the cigar from unrolling and unraveling. So you want to be real careful. When you use a punch, which is my favorite actually, you have to be careful that you gently cut it and get the cigar opened up. But you don't want to break the cap. Another thing about a punch is it needs to be large enough. If the hole is too small, you'll find the draw is restricted and it makes the cigar smoke a little hotter. So you want a pretty good sized punch. And one of my complaints about the punches on these lighters is they're a little bit on the small side. The guillotine takes a little more practice, and you have to be very careful to get enough and yet not cut through that cap. So be careful when using a guillotine. If you're at a cigar shop and they offer to cut your cigar for you, I would recommend that you do that. They're probably much more experienced at it than you are or I am, and they probably will do a good job. Lighting your cigar, most places will not light your cigar for you, but if they will help you use their assistance, definitely try and get a butane. You can do it with a wood match. Be sure and let all the chemicals burn off the wood match before you start lighting your cigar. You don't want those chemicals in your first straw. So, we've talked about a lot of different things. When all is said and done, I'm going to tell you, look for a Connecticut shade light wrapper, Connecticut grown light shade wrapper. And if all else fails, you can never go wrong by selecting an Arturo Fuente. If you just remember Arturo Fuente, they're always good. Most cigar shops have them, even if they've got a very limited selection. Your cigar stores at casinos and things will have an Arturo Fuente to choose from. If you happen to be in a kind of a boutique cigar shop, right now a very popular selection is called My Father. Anything they make is pretty good. They're coming out with a new mild Connecticut version shortly. That would be a great one to look for. Speaking of cigar shops, I'm going to put on the screen some photographs I took of Cigar Box in Las Vegas on Western Avenue. This is a very nicely stocked cigar shop. This is kind of typical. This is a particularly large one, but this is representative of what most cigar shops will have as far as layout. Like I say, this one's large. It's maintained at 70 degrees, 70% humidity to keep your cigars fresh and in optimum condition, and that's what you want. If you want a predictable choice, go ahead and go for the Fuente. Regardless of the wrapper, they're going to be fairly mild. If you're going to pick out your own cigar, look for the Connecticut wrappers. They're going to be nice and mild. I don't think you can go wrong with those. Pick one out that is the right size for you. They should be mild. Confirm with the shop owner that it's mild, and you should have a good first smoke and enjoy it. Take your time. You don't want to smoke a cigar in a rush. It's to relax and enjoy. If you're looking to impress somebody else, go ahead and get that expensive, highly rated cigar. But if you're looking for a good cigar to smoke, find yourself a Connecticut wrapper, proper size, proper length, and enjoy yourself. That's what cigars are for. Sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself.